Hello YouTube, this is Chaos27111, and welcome back to Misadventures in Polyamory. So, last time, the story I talked about was a misadventure, for sure. It was a dating misadventure. But, in the grander scheme of things, it didn't have so much to do with polyamory as much as it was a misadventure in asexual dating, or asexual dating trying to date allosexuals. This episode, I'm going to share a story that is definitely more pertinent to polyamory than anything else. So, an issue that comes up a lot in polyamorous dating and polyamorous relationships is the issue of hierarchy. And personally, I can't stand hierarchies. I don't like the idea of ranking the important people in my life. Like, if I like somebody, I like somebody. If I care about somebody, I care about them. And I don't like to arbitrarily place some people as having more important roles in my life. Especially not as a hard and fast rule. I prefer to look at relationships individually, and it's not a matter of how much I feel for them, it's a matter of what I feel for them. And that puts me in a bit of a pickle when it comes to dating people who are more hierarchical in their polyamory. And that's what this episode is about. So, setting the scene this time, this took place last year. It was around Anime Boston season. In fact, it was during Anime Boston. And I went all 3 days of Anime Boston, and I put together a couple of different cosplays of characters from Kamen Rider. For the first day, I did what I consider my signature cosplay, which is Sengoku Ryoma from Kamen Rider Gaim. But on the second day, I wanted to try something a little bit different. And so I cosplayed Urataros from Kamen Rider Den-O. And the story takes place on that second day. So, when I was looking at the schedule for Anime Boston, I found out that there was a tokusatsu panel. And considering these days I am way more... I don't want to say I'm more interested in tokusatsu, but that's basically all I'm watching right now. So, going to a tokusatsu panel was really exciting for me. So, I decided to go, and I, went in my Ura cosplay. And Ura's a bit of a flirt. And so, I played up that kind of side of me in going about my day. I tried to put on an air of being sort of more suave and charming and not my usual kind of awkward, shy self. And so, when I get to the Toku panel, I start to sit down, and I notice this beautiful woman. And there was an empty seat next to her, so I kind of seized the opportunity, and in my newfound Urataros-inspired confidence, I sat next to her and started, striking up a conversation. And, since we figured we were in attendance at the same panel, we clearly had things to talk about. And she seemed really, really cool. We vibed really well, and she appreciated my costume and my role-playing associated with it. And we exchanged phone numbers. And, I was excited. Wasn't necessarily expecting anything out of it, because I saw that she was there with another woman, and they were clearly being affectionate, and so I was kind of like, okay, this person's got a partner, it seems like, but, it's worth a try. And then I just go on with my day. Then I flash forward to that evening after the con is over for the day, and I get a text message from her, and she says, "Oh, and by the way, if it seemed like I was flirting with you at the panel, I was. I'm just super awkward, and poly is a thing that I do." And of course, that's when I started getting excited, because I thought that we were kind of flirting, but I wasn't sure. So the fact that it was clearly mutual was exciting to me, because at this point, I'm still not really used to that. I've gotten a fair amount of dating experience under my belt the last couple of years, but it's still a shock any time that there is that much mutual attraction, especially at first. Usually I feel like it takes more effort than this, but clearly I was doing something right. And so I get excited, and I ask her if she's going to be at the con the next day, and she wasn't, but we plan a date for the next week. So, flash forward to that next week, and, we've been talking a little bit over the course of the week, and she seemed really cool, and she takes me out to this crepe place that I like to go to a lot. This crepe place is actually closer to where I currently live in Boston than it was kind of a trek from my last apartment, but I was of course willing to make the trek for her. And I like this place. So and I actually had a gift card for that place. So I was hoping to use it that day. And so I'm waiting outside the crepe place, and then she shows up, and we go in and order our food, and I go to pay with my gift card, and she, hand waves it. She's like, "No, let me get this." And I was like, "Oh no, I got a gift card, I might as well use it." And she's like, "No, I insist." And so, she insisted, and hey, it's a free meal, and I can use my gift card at a later date. We sit down and we start talking, and we start kind of talking about our lives and what we do and what's going on. And I kind of figured this was the case, but you can't always be sure. But it turns out that she's trans too, which was exciting to me. I mean, in recent times I seem to meet and date a lot of trans women, but at the time it was still kind of a novelty to date somebody else who's trans, and it was exciting. We had that to bond with, as well as both having the same fandom and both being poly, and the chemistry was still very much there. After we got done with the crepes, we decided to walk around that area for a while, and she lived about a 15-minute walk or so away from the restaurant. I'm not a huge fan of PDA, so I was trying to, restrain myself when we were out and about in public. But then she invited me back to her apartment, and when we got there, she more or less kind of pounced on me, but not in an aggressive way. It was very much welcome, and it was just still astounding to me how much chemistry we seemed to have. And we were talking, and we were cuddling, and things were going so well, and apparently that partner that she has, that she was with at the Toku panel when we were talking, also lives with her. They are in a nesting relationship, and I didn't know that, but, they seem really good together, and this partner also seems cool, and, I figured if this girl and I ended up in a relationship, then the partner would be a pretty cool metaphor to have. Everything that we talked about, everything that this woman and I talked about, it was just a hit of chemistry here, it was a hit of chemistry there, it was a hit of, it seemed like we were really in sync, and I was really into her. And the physical chemistry was really good too. At one point, she straddled me and was, feeling all around my back and my shoulders. And I've got a really tense upper back and shoulder area. And like, even trained massage therapists have told me, wow, you have such tight knots. At one point I was told that my knots have knots. And so it takes a great deal of strength and a really good massage for this to really feel good. And this woman starts feeling up and down my back, and as soon as she gets to the tops of my shoulders, I just collapse into a puddle in her lap. You found my weakness, I said, and she proceeded to keep going, and just all the while I just kept saying to myself, she ticks all the boxes. And this was around the time that I was just starting to see my current girlfriend as well. I don't think she and I had committed yet. We had only been dating for a couple of weeks. And I was also in a committed relationship that was on the rocks at this point. So I mentioned both of those things, and I referred to the girl who would become my current girlfriend by her first name, and mentioned that, she's trans too. And my date kind of lights up and says, oh, I know a trans girl in this city by this name. Do you know what her last name is? And I tell her what my girlfriend's last name is. And apparently my date just starts collapsing into laughter because this girl that I'm on this date with and my current girlfriend, not only, they know each other. My metamor apparently used to live with this girl I was out with, years and years ago. And that's when I started laughing, and I should have known right then and there that meant that the trans and also the poly communities in the greater Boston area are really freaking insular. That should have been a tip-off that, this was not going to be the last time that I would run into people. I'd go on dates with people who I already have mutuals in common with. And that's going to be a running theme throughout several misadventures of mine, is my dates knowing people that I already know or already went out with. And I kind of took that as, I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder what she, the girl who is now my girlfriend, would say when I tell her that I went on a date with you today. And, my date used to feel bad and is like, do you think it'll be a problem that we're dating? Do you think it'll be a problem that we'd be going out? And I said, no, I don't think it's a problem. This girl's really chill. And if anything, I think it would be funny. And I also mentioned, I'm going through a bit of a breakup, so I'm not sure if I'm looking for anything serious right now, but I'd like to keep seeing you. And that's kind of the consensus we came to. So the date's about to end, and my date decides to, walk me to the train station so I can get home. And I had a long train ride home at that point. So start walking, and we start talking about polyamory again, and I'm starting to get excited. I'm like, oh, is this going to be, are we going to commit? Are we going to be together? I'm starting to fall pretty hard. You can claim that this is a good quality or a bad quality of mine, but I typically fall really hard, really fast. If I like somebody, if I have chemistry with somebody, I just kind of dive in. I'm like... So, we're going home, talking some more about polyamory and sort of what our relationship would look like. And she throws out the words hierarchical, those are the words secondary, casual, and I'm not sure at this point if I heard her correctly. But I start to get a feeling in my gut that, this is not good, that And so I ask her, just straight up, I kind of interrupt her, and I ask her, so you're telling me you are hierarchical or that you're not? Because I am really, really not hierarchical. And she said that she was, and that, she'd, only be able to see me as a secondary, that her partner that she lives with, is her primary, and they're going to get married someday, and all this, and that we could only be casual and secondary, and I did not handle that very well. So she tells me that she can only see me as a secondary, and, being a Kamen Rider fan, I kind of make an uncouth joke. I'm like, oh, I can handle being a secondary. After all, I do love my second riders. And she, kind of pity laughs and is like, oh, it's not like that. It just means that we would, be seeing each other casually. And I just started shutting down. She hugged me goodbye, and I got on the train and I left. And I tried to contact her again. I was kind of like, oh, I can totally handle being a secondary, is my line of thinking. If I care about somebody that much, then I'd bite the bullet for her. I tried to contact her a few times in the coming month or two, to no avail. And for a while, I was actually pretty upset about it. Like, I was really falling for her, and I thought that we would be a good match for each other. Like, we connected on so many levels. Never again would I meet another trans, ace, poly, kinky, toku nerd ever again. Like, there cannot be that many of us out there. And the fact that I was meeting one and went on a date with one and we had great chemistry was such a good, like, I wanted to seize the opportunity to start a relationship with this woman, but it turns out that we were not meant to be. And experiences that I've had post this adventure really do show me that it's a good thing that we didn't end up together, because I cannot handle being a secondary. I need to know that I'm important to the people I care about. I need to know that I'm just as worthy of love and attention as any primary partner would be. And I would not want to be with somebody who doesn't treat me with that same kind of love and attention that I would be showing them. And so being a secondary is just not an option for me. And unfortunately, that meant that a relationship with this person was not meant to be. And that was another misadventure in polyamory. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. I hope this kind of shed some light on a fairly common problem in polyamorous dating, is the trouble of hierarchy and non-hierarchy. So, I hope you enjoyed this story, this misadventure in polyamory, and if you did, please let me know. And stay tuned for the next misadventure. For now, this is Cash 7111 signing off.